Yeah, welcome in, guys. This is The Way, Spiritual Dojo, the path of unconditional love. And today we have a special guest who's a close friend of mine. His name is Ed Malone. So, to give you a little background on Ed, originally, Ed is from Ireland. He's an actor, clown, and a clown teacher. He's based in New York City. And Ed trained with master clown teacher Philippe Gaulier. Gaulier once said to Ed, or I'll do it in Gaulier's voice.
Just
Ed, what happened with you? Are you sick? You are not too bad today. Which Ed was delighted with because most of the time Gaulier kicked Ed off the stage immediately for being really bad and boring. Ed also loves to kick his students off the stage immediately when they are bad and boring, as he believes we learn so much from failure. Chloe Feynman of Saturday Night Live is a former student of Ed's, and another former student said, taking class with Ed is like taking the red pill of comedy. Ed's first solo show, The Self-Obsessed Tragedy of Ed Malone, was called a theatrical highlight of 2006 by the Irish Times. And Time Out New York said of his follow-up solo show, The Three Irish Widows versus the Rest of the World, they said it blows the walls off of the theater.
there you go.
Ed has performed several times in classical theater off Broadway and can also be seen in the upcoming Josh Safdie film Marty Supreme, starring Timothy Chalamet.
Blink and you'll miss me.
What's that?
Blink and you'll miss me, probably. I haven't seen the edit, but I'm in it really quick. It's going to be great.
I
Yeah.
love it. It comes out on Christmas Day. You must go see it. Ed is middle-aged and got divorced 2 years ago and is now entering. I love this. He's now entering another gay phase, just like he did in his late teens. Is it just a phase this time? Who knows? Ed
Ah,
still loves women, of course, and he loves men, and he loves non-binary folks too. Ed doesn't believe in any kind of separation. He truly believes we are all one. Ed thinks all labels are ridiculous.
wow. Deep, deep. He's
We're
deep.
gonna keep going with this bio because I love the other things that he sent me.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
So also someone sent me a couple of gay photos of me and Gaulier back in the day, and I must send them to you. So with uh with that being said, I felt compelled
Yes.
to pull up some photos so the viewers who are watching can see. So let me just share my screen.
Wow.
Uh,
Do it.
so Ed, can you see that?
Um, I actually can't see it yet. Am I?
Oh,
No,
okay.
can I? Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's
Oh,
share
here we go. Maybe
now.
something's starting to share. Jared has started. Oh, yeah, there you go.
There it is. So somebody so what could you say a little bit about this picture, Ed? And for the
Okay.
people that aren't watching, it's describe it for them.
So, Philippe, the teacher, would often pick it, like he would pick the costumes for the clown workshop, and the idea would be to like do something maybe that would bring up some shame or like make the performer feel ridiculous.
Hmm.
So this was his idea of like an Irish Catholic schoolboy costume for me, you know what I mean? Uh, so yeah, and I think I said it to you in the text maybe that like my memory, this is almost 20 years ago now, which is crazy, but like my memory of that costume is like uh the shorts being a lot shorter.
Uh-huh.
But then I think I said this to you in text, but then I realized it wasn't that. I just remember there was one day in the class where I tried to get a laugh by pulling my shorts up to show more of my legs up
Yeah.
as far as my testicles, and it did not get a laugh. It was like very disturbing for the audience. They hated me. They hated me, and Philippe hated me, and I got kicked off. immediately. Adios immediately.
Would uh
Uh,
would Philippe Gaulier, like if he was to say get off the stage, what would he how would he say it to you?
well, yeah, he would do it in different ways, but one of his favorite lines for everybody would be adios immediately, you know, which is classic.
Love that.
And I remember, I think I left this workshop in the flop, as they say. And the flop for your listeners is basically bombing or failing, like a flop. Yeah. So I remember on the last day, I did a clown routine, or I was forced to with. It was all improv, obviously, in the moment with my kind of on off on off again lover Lucia, this lovely Spanish girl at the time. So we were doing a thing together, and the first thing that I destroyed the show because you know the first thing that came out of my mouth, the impulse was, I forgot the condoms, and like Philippe hated it. Boom, get him off. And then
Adios.
yes, and then true story. Later that night, she slapped me because I ruined the show for her. She slapped me in the face,
Oh
and after
wow.
that, it was amazing. It was brilliant.
That sounds very dramatic.
I know. I totally deserved it. That reminds me, though, a lot of people tell me I need to get prep.
What does that mean?
That's, the prep is the thing to prevent gay lovers from getting AIDS. It's like I don't want to get prep though because I don't trust the Illuminati. Okay. I know.
Brilliant. I must say, Ed, I miss you. I miss laughter. I haven't been laughing a lot lately.
Hey, it's funny you should say that because I totally understand. I mean, I feel like it's been a really intense year for a lot of people so far, like something in the air, you know? I don't know. I've been very sentimental and reflective and emotional myself. I don't know. And I feel like a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff in 2025. I mean, we can get more into that. But I wanted
Yeah.
to say one thing before I forgot, because you brought up AI earlier. And I
Yeah.
have to tell you a really funny story about because like you said, I teach this class in New York City, a clown class myself, and this guy came to my class a couple of weeks ago, and he was really nice, interesting, strange, like, and I love strange people because I think strange people are great for clown. But he admitted to me that during the class, like he realized that every time he got up, he was kind of flopping. So during the class, when other people were working, he got out his phone and he asked AI, "What is clowning?" And then I didn't know he did this, and he got up right, and he did good work. So AI told him how to be a good clown, apparently, and he did good work in the class. It was crazy.
Oh, that's
Like,
good. I mean, it is absolutely fascinating the with what AI does, and we'll yeah, I guess we can talk a little bit about that. I want to show one more picture of Ed that he sent me that I was like I just busted out laughing.
me and
Um,
drag, yeah,
and
yes.
and yeah, also just so you know for the viewers, like Ed and I are close friends. Ed actually was my clown teacher as well. So
Jared's a natural genius clown, though. You were
thank
always a great clown. I want to talk to you about that in a minute because I
you.
think the older we'll talk about that in a second. One thing at a time. There's so many thoughts about you
Yeah.
because I loved you as a clown because your clown was so universal.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
I got to see my friend, Dr. Brown. He came to New York, Phil, recently, and I got to see him perform. And Phil Burgers. You know Dr. Brown, yeah.
Okay.
And like he does silent clowning a lot, and we can talk about this, the power of silent clowning, where you're not speaking so much, and so therefore, if I'm someone in China or whatever, and I don't speak good English, I can appreciate this. And I think that's as I'm getting older, I'm really realizing more and more the beauty of that.
Yeah,
But
that's the that type of clown I resonate with the most because I've always imagined to just like travel the world and just
right.
like, do that for people, which I think
Hmm.
it's beautiful. And it's also it's more difficult. I feel you always want to
Absolutely.
go to the words
Absolutely.
to get the
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
Um
But you
so
do it really well. You do it really well. Jared does it really well, folks listening. He's a good silent clown.
thank you.
Uh,
I appreciate that, Ed.
no.
What did you say? You said so
Oh
Oh,
yes.
I say I saw
Speaking of the
the
Scottish
picture.
love,
He said so sensitive, but I definitely bombed hard that day. I remember the shorts being a lot shorter, but
yes,
maybe it was actually me pulling them up,
I know.
almost showing my balls to the audience, looking for laughs, but actually scaring the shit out of everyone. Adios immediately.
Yes,
So then this next one is he shows me a picture. Uh, him in drag. He said Gaulier hated it, but the Spanish girl I was dating at the time really got turned on by it. True
true,
story.
true story.
So let's if I can pull this picture up real quick. You look very regal in this picture.
I know, right? Wow, yeah. Well, that's the thing about that training, stand up straight, like be beautiful.
Can you see
Yeah,
that?
really cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a blue dress, orange like orange and blue dress, and he's got a brown wig on.
The
Yeah.
girls, yeah, oh, I haven't, the girl standing next to me, Julia, an Italian clown. I wonder what she's doing with her life now. Shout out to Julia if she somehow sees this podcast one day.
Who knows? Who knows? I
Yeah,
say I highly doubt it, but who knows? This could explode into
yeah,
1 million viewers.
exactly. The dream of selling
Yeah,
this
our our uh,
celebrity.
our dream that we had told each other we're gonna blow up one day. You
We
and
we we still believe in that
I
dream.
still believe in that. Yeah.
It's
So,
funny about that one story about that picture. I posted that before I left Instagram. I posted that on my old Instagram, and it's funny because usually I would say a lot of things that would trigger people on Instagram, but what I said on that Instagram was very innocent and it triggered someone. I basically said, "This is me pretending to be a woman in clown school," and a transgender person got really offended. Said, "That's not how you say it." It was really funny. That's not how you describe it. And I was really confused that he was or they or whatever were really serious about this. I was like, whoa,
yeah.
I'm getting canceled for this innocent comment and post.
What
Wow.
why do you think they were like that's not how you say it? Like what
I
did you
don't know, but apparently there's you don't say like I'm a man dressed as a woman or something, whatever way I phrased it. Like
Aha.
that's politically not
Right,
correct.
you have to say like you're a man or
I honestly don't
you
know.
are a
Or else,
transgender man or
right,
whatever.
probably, yes.
And technically that makes you not sensitive enough if you don't know the terms.
Right. But you know what? God bless this person. And hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
But I left the post up there until I left. Yeah. But yeah,
So
sorry.
Ed, I would love to start off by asking you where you grew up.
Oh, totally. I grew up in Cork City in Ireland, which is in the south of Ireland. Um, yeah, for your listeners who like cultural references, Cillian Murphy, who won the Oscar for Oppenheimer, is also from Cork City. Um, yeah, it's a lovely city in the south that's like the second biggest city in the Republic of Ireland. Um, Dublin, of course, is the biggest city. Uh, it's very nice. Cork people are famous for like really believing that they are the shit. Like
Mm.
we really love we're very funny and we really think we're the best. That's kind of the reputation Cork people have. Like, yo, man, we are the best. We
Do you-
have a kind of a cheeky love for pride. And the nickname is the Rebel County because apparently, when we were being raped and pillaged by the English for all those years, apparently we were the last city to like stand up to them before we got killed.
yeah.
So we got the Rebel label. Um, yeah, I'm sure it's a bit more nuanced than my description, but I'm bad at history sometimes.
What
But
were
yeah,
you what were you like as a kid?
Oh, you know what? What's interesting about that question about and about that photo we showed earlier about me, the innocent photo with me in the it, I was a re I think Philippe might have been trying to get me back in touch with that because I was a really shy, super shy child,
Hmm.
not like the grotesque artist you see before you today. I like was really like I didn't like to say uh hello to anyone. You know, it's funny. I was never like embarrassed about this, but maybe I was subconsciously. You've seen my chest, right? Should I show the audience my chest?
Yeah,
That's my
yeah, please do.
um we get this is great. It's like a naked moment in
Yeah.
this podcast. So I have this thing. It's called, you could look it up. It's called okay, let me see. It's called pectus excavatum. Pectus excavatum, which is basically, as you can see, there's like a hole in the center of my chest. Um, so pectus excavatum excavatum is the correct term for it. It's quite common actually, but yeah, you're basically born with this concaved chest.
Hmm.
Um, and I also have scoliosis, which is obviously also quite common, I guess, in some people with the spine is all fucked up. So I'm like Richard III, basically, man, for these big spirits.
There you
But
go.
like, but like when
You
I
ever
was
want to
young,
play Richard the Third?
you're gonna play Richard III?
I
Me?
said, would
Oh,
you ever want to play Richard the Third?
it would be hilarious. I would love to do it. It would one day. Or maybe I could do a clown version where I don't have to
I
learn all.
just thought that would be amazing if you did a
It'd
clown.
be if I didn't have to learn all those lines, you know what I mean? I just did my own. "Bu- bu- 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 bu." Like we did a silent one where I'm just like saying a few words here and there. Taxi, like if I just say taxi, taxi for Richard III. Oh my God, like nonsensical bullshit. Okay, but I had an operation on this chest when I was a young man, and like you can maybe still see the scar.
Yeah.
It was really funny. So basically, the operation was to enhance the chest. A good job. I don't want to like criticize Irish doctors. I was too young to know if it was good or bad. But for a few months, it was really funny in school because they had to leave this like metal bar in my chest for like a recovery period. So there was this weird metal bar that was kind of pointing out the side of my ribs, and all the kids at school were fascinated by it, like I was some kind of alien or superhero with a metal bar in my chest, like you know. And eventually they had to remove the metal bar, but like for a few months it was like I had to walk around with this metal bar, like
Oh,
it was
wow.
really weird. And
Like
like I
it was
said,
like a bar that went through.
exactly, into the like yeah, like so it would kind of protrude like on one side and like I don't even know how they put that in. So they must have really opened me up. Whoa, I might have been dead for a minute or two. I don't know what happened. I was so young I didn't give a shit really. Um, but so I guess you could say that subconsciously that might have mentally impaired made me shy as well or whatever, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like um and yeah, I didn't say like. And it was only like when I started becoming I was really bad at school. Like, I guess that's a classic creative person to say I was really bad. And some of the teachers actually, this was the 80s, guys. Some of the teachers in Ireland still physically abused you. Shock. But it's okay. I'm not complaining. It made me the boy that I am right now. The faggot. Sorry. Uh, but anyway, yeah. So then I was like, I didn't decide that I wanted to be an actor until I was 19 because I did really bad. What's it called in America when you do your exams when you're 18 before you go to college?
Oh, your SAT?
Your SAT. I think that's called like the leaving certificate in Ireland, which just means like you're leaving high school to go to a college. But I didn't get into any college because I was shit. I, I flopped in academia. So when I was 19, this is really beautiful. I just had this memory. God bless my mother. My mother came into my room one day and she wasn't angry. She just said it with such sensitivity. I need to put this in a show or in a movie. She just looked at me with kind of really sad, sensitive eyes and said, like, almost like her son was kind of helpless, like, what do you want to do? Is there anything you want to do? And I told her, like, you know, I'd like to try to be an actor. And she was like, okay, why don't you try that then? It was a really beautiful. I mean, I could see that it scared her because of the, there's no money in it, blah blah blah. That culture, she definitely probably felt that as but so I took an improv class when I was 19,
Mm,
and people told me I was good. And if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have continued. If people thought that I was shit, or if I was shy, I would. But for some reason, I wasn't shy. I felt like it was an excuse to kind of go into a world of make believe and pretend. So if the shyness was still there, it started to disappear because I could just go off into fantasy land. And I think the teacher was really good. It was an English lady, and she did old school improv. No disrespect, but I kind of get angry and I hate a lot of new school improv. What I would call new school improv was people who talk too much, but she did a lot of kind of physical improv, which I thought was interesting. And yeah, I fell in love, and then I started to become serious about that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you on the. I mean, we've talked about this before, but the new school improv, and I went and did some improv in Austin. I was where I live right now,
Yes.
and I just felt. Yes, there was some fun and excitement, but I felt I was very limited. It was like there were all these rules
Yeah.
that still limited me in feeling like you could play as a child. Like yes, rules can help, but at the same time, training with you and training in clown and having such an open palette to play with, it felt constricting.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, each to his own, but like, yeah, I guess for people who like to be clever and stuff and, want to get on SNL, maybe it can work. That's not me having a dig at SNL because there's some funny people on SNL, but
Yeah.
like the clever comedian, like sketch comedy kind of stuff, like, you know, uh if you want to be clever with words and all that, if that's your bag, then go for it. But yeah,
Yeah.
um, but
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
that just goes deeper into to like when you're honing skills and performance and you can I mean I'll just speak for myself as a performer and trained as an actor. It's like you start to understand the people that are authentic and honest and like as you say in your class and is seeing the glint, seeing the dream, the magic in the eyes.
Yeah,
You can just spot that in all performers. Like,
immediately.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I love that you brought that up because I just thought of uh yeah, because that guy, Philippe Gollier, that guy, he would talk about that, what you just said, the glint of the eye, and the joke begins in the eyes. We know immediately if their eyes are alive and we want to watch them play. And like, it's really beautiful what you said earlier about this podcast, about like not wanting to be perfect, I, and it's good because we all like, I found myself, I'm teaching a weekend intensive this weekend, and I find myself preparing. And it's good to prepare a little, but you don't want to prepare too much. But I find myself preparing a lot. I'm like, oh, okay, Ed, you need to fucking pull back because, you know, it's okay. We'll see what happens. Like, you don't want to give 600 exercises in 2 days. Like, you have to. It's not about being perfect with it, and let's see what happens. And it reminded me that Gaulier said this beautiful thing. You shouldn't want to be good, but you should want to be beautiful. And I find that so moving
Mm,
because there is a difference. Because when I say it to myself, like today, I want to be beautiful, I feel so innocent and my eyes kind of go, oh, I feel more attractive. And I feel like
mm,
the, the world becomes more attractive to me too, actually. You know what I mean? Like,
mm.
but if I say I want to be good, I feel like, oh, I feel like Hillary Clinton about to kill Gaddafi. Oh, I have to get him. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's like pushing to be good. Like, yeah.
I love this and one of Man, I mean, it's like there's just so many nuances to to why the specific people I choose to bring on the podcast, but like my my main reason for creating this podcast is to really find leaders that are leading from an authentic, heart-led place, to share their path of what I see a path people are guiding with the heart, with love, authentic love. Um, and with that being said, to you, Ed, like what would you when you said that about being beautiful, how would you uh parallel that to unconditional love? Like how like
Wow.
just like
I
what
think
does
it's
that mean to you?
that's amazing question. I think I think they are the same thing. Basically, they're connected. Um, um, totally. Because like it's exactly that. Because just to be clear to the listeners who might not be clear on this, when I say beautiful, and I think we're in the same boat, I'm obviously not talking about physical beauty. I'm talking about, I mean, sure, like that's a can be a part of it if you own whatever your shape is, but like that's not the thing. It's about the beauty of the human being, the soul of the person, the innocence of the person, the vulnerability of the person, um, the willingness to share um, that beauty with the audience without the audience could be your friends in real life without wanting or expecting anything back, hence the unconditional love aspect. So I'm
Mm.
sharing my love and my beauty, and I don't expect you to say to me, "Oh, you're beautiful today, Ed." It's not that. It's just like I'm doing it willingly, uh, you know, and it's yeah, it's totally related to unconditional love. And I find that comes up a lot because I'll just tell you this quick story about me, like in 2025, and maybe we'll talk more about this anyway, but like I didn't want to teach anymore, you know. You know, it's like life, you got to go where it goes, right? You got to go where life takes you. I was kind of like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I want to focus on other things, but like, you know, obviously I have to survive too and kind of make a living. And so there's this big, huge WhatsApp clown group chat that I wasn't even aware of. So I got introduced to this, and so all these new students started coming to my class, and you know, some of them are really into it, and you know, some people come and go, and that's cool. That's always been the way. But I guess, you know, the thing about teaching is I give and I give and I give and I love to give. I don't expect anything back from the student. Sometimes my ego will be like, is this person progressing? Are they getting it? Do I need to do more or whatever? And sometimes my ego gets upset when a student gets upset. You know, I lost a few students really recently who um, maybe don't like my approach or you know, thought I was a bit too tough. And when that happens, I usually reach out after the class and send my love and let them know that, you know, if they ever want to talk about it, I'm there because it's really interesting. Maybe I'm rambling and going all over the place with topics here, but like this thing of like unconditional love, like my job as a teacher is to kind of like serve the student and help them discover things, hopefully, or point them in the direction of different things. But sometimes, for one reason or another, the student doesn't want to go in the direction that makes them loved. And um, that's fascinating to me. But it's not my job to push that, you know?
Mm-mm.
They have to find that out themselves.
Yeah, would
Um,
you my first thought, which this I feel like this is has been like a theme of this week, me exploring a little bit deeper. But my first thought is the aspect of shame and like what what shame
yes.
does to a performer. And like that's you know the simplicity that Golier uses and that you use in language of using words like beautiful, but like if you dive deeper and less about the beauty of the vessel but the beauty of the soul, um when you when people could take offense to this, but like, no, you're not beautiful, you look ugly. It's basically saying, I'm seeing shame. I'm seeing your
Yes.
shame right now.
Right. Oh, totally. That's so spot on. And also on the thing you just said, like I always this might sound so common sense, but I try to remind people because they forget. If I say you're ugly in this situation. I'm just referring to this particular moment. I'm not saying you're ugly, period.
Right.
5 minutes from now, you could be beautiful, you know? Like people forget because sometimes people take it so personally that they think, oh, I'm ugly, like, period. That's it. I'm never going to be beautiful, which is ridiculous, you know, because things are constantly changing, like as we know in life. But yeah, shame is a big thing, especially with clown, because in clown, obviously, as you know, people have to be comfortable with being laughed at, you know, they're laughing at you because you're an idiot. You're a beautiful idiot, probably, if they're laughing at you. And it's a good thing. And the clown will love this. The clown should love, oh, they laugh at me being an idiot like this. I'll do it again, you know? Like I'll do this stupid thing again. But that's hard for so many people, and I get it. I'm not saying it was easy for me. It's become easier as I've gotten older, for sure. Like, but like, um, you know, being stupid is not something that's embraced by society, but it's a beautiful thing, obviously, because everybody wants to be intellectual, which I find kind of boring, to be honest. But
Logic.
intellect, yeah, logic, intellectual logic, yes, because and it takes so much courage to sell your shame, like to sell your stupidity, to not be afraid to be laughed at, you know. But of
Mm,
course, and I get all that stuff about like, well, you need a safe space for that. But like the reality is like, sure, but if you're in front of an audience that are paying to watch you, that's not necessarily a safe space either. So like they paid to make, you know, they just want to see you do something, be entertaining. So, you know, but in a teaching environment, despite the fact that I can be tough, like I think 99% of the people who've worked with me would say that, yeah, it's a safe space. It's a safe space in an ironic way because it's kind of feels dangerous.
mm,
Uh, but with Shane, yeah, to go back to your Shane point, for sure, that's a big and I get like uh I'm lucky and I feel like you're the same that like I feel like both of us have like worked through some stuff like from a spiritual point of view to maybe cope better with shame or whatever. And like a lot of people, and I need to remind myself as a teacher that a lot of people in the room may not have had the opportunity to do that work. So I try to navigate that sometimes, and I trust my instinct on who can handle it and who can't. Like for
mm,
example, there's this amazing kid from California. His name's Seb. I have a feeling he's going to be a very big clown. He came to my class a lot, and this year, and he was totally comfortable with me getting two girls to pull down his pants, show his underwear to the audience, and I got two women on either side of him to slap him on both cheeks violently because he was bad, and like he loved it, and he started to become funny, and he played with it. He played with it. He started to become funnier and funnier with this quote unquote shame of like, look at
mm,
me beaten up by these two hot women, but it gave him pleasure and love, and he felt good. But obviously, I couldn't do that with everyone because they,
mm.
know what I mean?
What, and this, there's so many different ways I want to go, but this is, I'll just stick with what the first thing that came up is, um, I was talking with a friend of mine, um, and she was talking about shadow theater, um,
Oh,
and diving into the world of the shadow, and playing that shadow out, and that instance of him like pulling down his pants, him slapping. What would you say is how would I ask this question? With clown, in what type of healing have you seen within you, Ed, that of doing clown? Like what shadow aspects have come to the surface that you've transmuted in real time on the stage as a clown?
I think it would be, uh, and we've already touched on this, it would be like that letting go of wanting to be um, wanting to like, wow, this is getting very deep actually, wanting approval or wanting to be the good boy who does everything right, like
Mm,
wanting approval from mom and dad. Look, mom, look, because I mentioned earlier that I was bad at school, but here's the thing. I actually really earnestly tried to be good. Like I wasn't like a bad boy who was just like daydreaming all the time. I actually genuinely wanted to be good to please my mom and dad, but I just my brain just couldn't work that way. You know what I mean? So like with clown, it was that comfort in like I remembered in a melodrama workshop with Golier where um we had to be it was the funniest workshop by default because like in this workshop you're supposed to be very serious dramatic actors from like the 1800s, like melodramatic and like everything's about really deep shit. And I was doing this like scene with this English girl and like I entered and I started shouting my like, and you would get you to like you speak with a really loud voice in this workshop, like really big. So I entered and started shouting my head off, like thought I was being a really serious Daniel Day-Lewis actor, and like everybody in the class immediately erupted into laughter. And then he sat me down in the chair and he said to his wife, Michiko, go get him the red nose. So he put the red nose on me to make me feel how ridiculous I was trying to be this serious actor and how stupid I was making myself look. And I like to feel that shame. Feel it, Ed, feel it.
mm,
You know, this is good for clown for you. You think you are this serious actor. I like it was really good, you know, to go
mm.
through that process of like so like but that, you know, obviously that's tough on the ego or whatever. Um but like hey, yeah, I know. Did I answer your question kind of?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Would you have you ever had moments on the stage or seen moments on the stage of people going through like emotional release or of some kind just from that type of training?
Totally. Well I remember like well, there's a few I could give you a few examples, but like when Gaulier was directing you, and I think I do try to do similar things, it was almost like he was conducting you, like he was a puppeteer. Like for example, like stand taller, walk slowly towards us, fix point, don't roll your eyes, smile a little bit, give space between the words, allow the audience to dream, you know, all this kind of stuff. So it was like what's the guy in Star Wars? Yoda. Yeah, he gets compared to Yoda a lot. It was very
Yeah.
Yoda. Um, uh, so like when that was happening to me, and when I was watching it happen to other people, it did feel like I was floating, or like I was like Jesus Christ walking on water or some bullshit like that. Seriously, it was like, you know what I mean? It was very magical and very like, whoa, like you know that feeling as a child when you like, I don't know, when you learn how to, well, I can't swim, so that's a bad example, but when you learn how to do something for the first time or like ride the bicycle and you're like flying down the hill on the bicycle, but it's like you're floating and like, I don't
Mm,
know where this is going, man. I don't know where I'm going, but I feel safe because I know I
mm.
can do it because I'm being guided like and I feel like, you know, it's like it's like aerodynamic or whatever. Like yeah, it's just a magical experience. Um,
Yeah. I something I'd like to reflect is just through being through the clown training with you. We'll say it's not for the I guess for lack of a better phrase, the faint of heart, because
yes,
it takes a lot of courage. In my
totally.
experience, in my opinion, it's like, yeah, you're on stage, but you are learning what makes the audience in a sense love you with laughter, or with watching you and leaning in. And through that, it's like, yeah, your ego is not welcome in the space. Like,
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's what I mean by that. It's like obviously our ego is there for a reason.
Hmm.
In a sense, it's there to quote unquote protect you, but yeah,
Sure.
it's like when you step into the space, it's like. from my experience, there were always deaths that had to happen in the moment of like dying. Um, in my opinion, what the work that you do is you die to the self, you die to the self to see the soul. If
Wow, that's amazing that you say that because
Yeah,
like that's another thing that he would say, Goliath, of like just show the audience your soul, you know? Show the audience your soul. It's that
yeah.
simple.
And
Yeah.
it's like that's why it's such a challenging thing. And it's like, yeah, you know, you could come in and um take the class and like, oh yeah, you want to learn clown. And it's like the reason why I think that the way that's taught is so powerful is it's in my opinion, it is the clown teacher who would in how do I put this? The type of training that Ed does, Golier does, really whittles out the true performer, the
Yeah.
person that actually wants to perform,
Yeah.
because you know
Yeah.
because you're putting yourself to the fire. It's intense. It can be belittling to the ego, like if you're really taking personal the words that are being said.
Yeah, and like, but also like, I think the really smart ones as well. Like, I shouldn't use the word smart. I mean, whatever that's, but like people, let's say who are open. That's a better word. Like the students who are open understand that that's a game. Like,
Yeah.
and they kind of will give it back to the teacher, you know, in a fun way. Like, and I saw that with Philippe, and I see it with me, where people will discover something fun if they start mocking me, which is good. I encourage that if people start to laugh. But then obviously you have to transfer that to, you know, whatever you're trying to do creatively. So it's not just like an in joke where you're just mocking the teacher for a couple of minutes. But like my point is like that I'm really open to that, you know, and making people aware of that, that listen, you can give this back to me and prove me wrong. And it's good to say fuck you to the teacher, you know, but you have to do it, you have to do that beautifully as well, though. If it's done like in a heavy-handed, boring way, then it's like we're concerned as an audience if we think it's real, you know? Because if you think I'm really belittling you, then I'm doing my job badly, and I need
Hmm.
to like, you know what I mean? Like you need to know that I'm taking the piss out of you from a place of love. And I always felt that with Golier, and I think most people who come to my class feel that with me, that like, oh, that's, you know, and sure, but that being said, there are times when it can feel really intense because my whole purpose is to get something out of the provoke something
Yeah.
beautiful in the person. So like I will go sometimes to really intense places in a you know really aggressive way that might blur the lines to see if I can provoke something beautiful. Like, you know, stuff like, oh, who are you fucking at the moment or what? But that's kind of light, really. But like,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, why did your boyfriend leave you? Did he leave you because you're boring like this? And then it's cool because then usually something, if the person has a sense of humor, their eyes will kind of light up and they'll come alive.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
can, you know,
It's
finding the,
great because
yeah.
I've had multiple times where I've cried in Ed's class
It's
because it
beautiful, beautiful, by the way. By the way, I'm glad you brought that up because that's only starting to happen again this year. And I think I always say that that's so beautiful. I loved when you did that because, you know, that's the beginning. We start to see some humanity, you know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the crying is just it's the opening. It's like the what's that Rumi quote? The light enters the your wound is where the light enters you or something like that. I can't remember how it's phrased, but
Right.
um
Yeah, just exactly. And like because that's a step because like, um, I just thought of something when you said that because I do this exercise when someone is flopping a lot, where it's hilarious because it can go so many different ways, but I get them to just stand on stage and tell us all your clown problems, like, you know. So tell us about all your flops. Tell us about all your flops in your personal life. And it can turn into it's hilarious because it can turn into really bad stand-up where it's like oh, I'm angry with my mom that I come to this class every week and I suck and I'm paying you money and I can't and people start to laugh at all these sob stories and it's really beautiful. It's just like but it's and then people start to cry, the performance starts and we're laughing at them crying and it's like you know what I mean? It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Uh
Yeah, is it like this middle where they start to cry and then their people are laughing and then they start to laugh?
yeah, yeah. It's a
Yeah,
great thing.
that's
It's really
funny.
cool.
So you grew up in Cork, Ireland. You learned you had a special moment with your mother that where she kind of guided you to do acting. Um, and I want to ask, and I ask you this because you've told me so much about your father
Hmm.
and what that relationship was like. And I'm curious, um, how, and I'm going to shape this question in a way yeah, how would you say that your father, taught you to be a more loving individual?
Wow, what a great question. Well, that's complex because he was quite, if I'm honest, quite a tortured guy himself.
Mhm.
But how he taught me to be more loving was like, I just think more by example, like, because even though he had moments where he was angry and he was angry at his job and he was angry at the world or whatever, and maybe sometimes he got angry with his family and with us, um, there was this kind of sensitivity to him where he kind of just, it was kind of a led by example way. What do I mean by that exactly? Even though he wasn't an artist, but he wanted to be an actor when he was younger, and his taste in things was hilarious. His taste in art, he loved the musical Camelot, and sometimes he would sing. I actually got into that musical myself as I got older. It was hilarious, and he would sing songs from that, and like there was this kind of gentlemanly quality to him. Uh, so I feel like he taught me to be to have that gentleman quality at times, to be polite, you know, to be polite. And I know sometimes people we all can be too polite in certain situations, but just he had a kind of a quiet dignity about him that was really interesting. And also I felt like he had this kind of uh he wasn't really a fan of superficial things. Like social gatherings that he felt were superficial would annoy him a lot. And I picked up on that as a young child, boy. Um, so I guess you could say that he taught me honesty as well
Mm,
there. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
Um,
and I feel like that kind of from knowing your past with him, but that kind of question, I've you which you answered beautifully. But for some people, if you were to ask that, it would really confuse them if they had. So, from my understanding, like your father could be abusive, would you say?
yeah, yeah, sometimes physically, but mostly emotionally, but
Emotionally.
sometimes physically, yeah. But I have to say, and I know that some viewers won't like me saying this because they'd be like, "Oh my God, Freud wrote about this. You should never say this." But I'm going to say it anyway, so I don't care what you guys say. I was such a little shit. Sometimes I deserve the physical abuse. That's a controversial take, but I'm going to say it, honey. I know that's really old school, but whatever, bitch. I love how I'm saying this with a gay voice. It's great. But
Whatever, bitch.
yeah, yeah. Like I
I'm
totally deserve the
being
abuse as well.
dead.
Yes. Nobody ever deserves to be hit. Sorry, I know I get it. It's true, I guess. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
But like seriously though, if you're pushing someone's buttons, if you're a young little brat and like your father doesn't like his job or his life and you're like pushing his buttons, like being annoying, like, hey, he snapped. Like he's human, you know? I'm just trying to
Mm,
be objective about it, you
mm.
know? I'm not like defending it. I'm just trying to say like, hey, things shit happens. It's like it's hard to like sometimes it's not easy in the moment to kind of say, no, I won't do that. Like,
With
do you know what I mean?
every action, there's an
Yes, yeah,
an
yeah,
equal and opposite reaction. Yeah.
right, right, totally.
Yeah.
Uh,
Would you have you gotten in as you've grown up, have you gotten any downloads, as they say, or messages from your father?
well, it's funny. I love that you're asking me this because I might have said this to you before, but like I genuinely feel so much closer to him now than when he was alive.
Hmm.
Like it's crazy, really. Like I feel a connection. I feel a kind of a weird, like that he's guiding me in some way. Um, that like, wow, because it's this month in 2004. Yeah, July 24th, 2004 was when he left this realm. So that's what, 21 years now? Wow.
Wow.
So like, uh, yeah, because he was only like 57 or 58 when he died very young, you know, liver cancer, which is interesting because, you know, he wasn't really a big drinker, but, you know, the liver is connected to bitterness and he was a bitter man. And I think that's why he died of like liver cancer. There was like he had this bitterness in him throughout his life. God bless him. But, uh, but now, yeah, to answer your question, I do feel like I get downloads and I feel a connection and I feel like, um, I think he is supporting what I'm doing with my life, that I'm figuring it out. Uh, that's hilarious, you know. 44, still figuring it out. But hey, maybe we're never going to stop trying to figure it out, I guess, right? That's life till the end, I guess.
Yeah. 44 years old.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I
You
feel
look,
12.
you look like you're 30, brother.
Thank you very much, Jared. You look amazing too, by the way. You look
Thank you.
sensational. It's really great. We're both hot
We,
men.
we both hot men with bronze skin.
Yes, bring on the bronze. Yeah,
All right, we're gonna look over to the questions of ChatGPT.
I love it.
Um, my ChatGPT's voice, uh, he's an English voice, sounds like this a little bit, and he's like he calls me brother.
That's, that's amazing. He
Yeah.
calls you brother. Wow.
So, what did you learn about your own ego through clowning, Ed?
That's big, but that is really big. Uh, that,
It's really big, yeah.
but also that
Mine too.
it's open. It's open to being destroyed, which is good because if it wasn't, I'd be in a lot of trouble. You know, I don't know if we ever really completely get rid of it, right? But like, I definitely think clowning is a great way to begin a journey to dismantling it. Because like every day, even as a clown teacher, I come to the class when I teach and I'm like, like I don't I don't know what's going to happen. And I say to the students, oh, my exercise might flop, you know. I don't put it all on the students, you know. Uh, so yeah, you have to be humble. I love that too. Gullier once said to another student, not me, because I never wanted to be a teacher, by the way. I stumbled into teaching, but like I remember him saying to one other student, if you become teacher, be humble because if they think you're pretentious, they will eat you alive.
Mm,
It's a very because very intelligent because I know there have been moments in my teachings where I've got ahead of myself and I'm like I can feel the room turning against me. You don't think you're better than the people in the room because you're like you know are like because I genuinely don't like because like I look at some of the things that happen in my class that are beautiful and I think I couldn't do what that person just did. I could
mm.
not, and that's the beauty of it that I'm learning as well. Like that beautiful thing that he or she did was like, whoa, I would never. That's not in Ed Malone's repertoire as a performer. So that's when that happens, So from that point of view, it's good for the ego too to be like, whoa, see what she just did, Ed Malone. You can't do that, so fuck you. Yes. Yeah,
That's powerful. That's
yeah,
powerful and a definitely a humbling that happens in the yeah, a humbling, especially as a teacher.
yeah.
I've taught a little bit in my life, but teaching is and I will say this to you, that's one of my favorite parts of you as a teacher is that aspect where it's like you kind of like yes, you are guiding, but there is still this like level playing field that you create.
Thank you. I hope so. So important because then we all really feel like it's an ensemble, like because I like my class to be like, as you know, I know this might sound pretentious, but I like my class to be like a show, like a work of art. That's like if someone, and this happens sometimes, people come in to observe, and it's like they're going to be like entertained and like, you know, by everyone in the room,
Yeah.
include everyone. That's why I do that thing where I'm like, if someone else, and you remember this, like in Gully, I would do this a lot. Like if someone else is on stage and me and you are sitting together, you're also a student, but you're watching with me. They finish. And I'm like, Jared, what do you think of that? Do you want to kill this person or do you want to fuck this person? So Jared doesn't expect me to ask him the question, but I'm putting him on the spot, and now he's part of the show, and he has to tell us whether he wants to fuck this person or not. And now
Yeah.
he's involved in the show, which is great. So if he says something really funny, then he saves the show for the girl on stage who's flopping or whatever, or the boy, which is so deep and profound and silly and beautiful, you know.
That makes me think of have you ever had anybody hook up because of your class?
Yes, it's the my that's always my goal, and I'm so happy when that happens.
Why do you think that is?
You know, another one that I think Gaudier said, but I think other clown people have said this. It's perfectly normal for a clown to stop his show to fall in love with someone in the audience. The ADHD clown who's like, oh my God, there's someone hot in the audience. Forget about my show. I got to go to her or him. This is normal. This is normal for clown. She's, but yeah, so it happens. It's just, well, you know what it is? It's about the sparks flying. It's about the complicity. It's about the chemistry, the freedom to kind of like, I feel so free that I could just like connect with someone in the class right now and just like take them home and just bend them over and just, whoa, eat their ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I do
this
know
is,
what you mean.
this is like, but because the audience loves it too. That's the point. Like the audience can, believe it or not, the audience can feel it.
Yeah.
If there's two clowns on stage, the audience can feel it if they're fucking. It's like this weird, like spiritual, like, oh, or at least even if they're not fucking, like they have the look in the eyes of like they're really close friends and they like love each other, the way they're looking into each other's eyes, like that's the best thing in the world, man. So
Yeah,
it's happened a
audience
few
loves
times in my
that shit.
class, and like, yeah, it's great when it happens. It's great when someone who's considered unfuckable becomes fuckable, or
Mm,
someone who's like unlovable becomes lovable we because they show something about themselves through performance, which makes everyone fall in love with them and change their idea. We might have had an idea about this person, and then, whoa, I didn't know he could be like that. Like, it's a beautiful thing. It makes you dream, and that's what you got to do, right? Make the audience dream.
I would say that to say this for the men. Men, if you want to have, what is it called? BDE, big dick energy, take a clown class.
Yeah, with Ed Malone in New York City.
There's the quote, the tagline. Get BDE with Ed Malone's clown class.
Yes. Even yeah, because even if you're like me and in reality you have a tiny penis, they will love you anyway.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. It's all about the energetic cock, as they say.
Yes. Oh, Jared, what a great title. The Energetic Cock. Sweet.
Yeah, that's a good play title. Good clown show.
It's a great name. Wow.
I was in this class. This just reminded so, and I actually had like just a wild emotional release. And just to like kind of bounce off of what we're talking about with like people wanting having sex with each other because of clown class, because there's this sensitivity that's opens up and you
Hmm.
become more attractive. Um, I I went to this class. You'll find this hilarious, bro. It was a class. It was called Big Pussy Energy. Was the workshop,
Wow.
and this woman, like she's the best. Her name's Brittini. She's totally like authentic, like really in her like just her sexual energy,
Nice.
and um, she uh had a co-ed. It's normally for women, but she had a co-ed class because the people that were in her class that she's teaching, they were actually going to become teachers. And so she turned it into like a graduation. But she
Wow.
had the men come to support,
Okay.
and she did, honestly, man, like I did not want to go because there was like I could feel residual like sexual shame in me.
Okay.
And but then I convinced myself to go because I wanted to meet my edge or whatever. And I
Hmm.
go there, and she she says, she's like, I believe that every man and every woman has an energetic pussy and an energetic cock. And so
Cool.
when we introduce each other, I want you to turn to your neighbor, and this is for men, and this is how I always say to my women, I say, my pussy brought me here because. And so she said to the
It's
men, I want
amazing.
you to say to your neighbor, my pussy brought me here because, and then say it. And man, I like
Oh,
there was
buddy.
this part of me that was like, oh my gosh, like I could feel myself like constricting by that.
Yeah.
But then I responded, I was like, my pussy brought me here because I feeling a lot of resistance to all of this. And
That's
so
so
that
beautiful.
like, yeah, so that was like my long story short, she had this, it was basically like a teaser session where she told everybody to close their eyes, and if any moment this was happening, if people opened their eyes, she would have them shut them. And I think that reasoning behind that is to keep everybody in safe space so they're not like looking at what each other are doing. And
Uh-huh.
so she basically like was guiding people into experience like the eros of your sexuality. And bro, I closed my eyes and just I was just like sobbing, just
Oh,
sobbing
wow, it's beautiful.
through this. And I mean it was most definitely a trauma release because then afterwards, after they ended, I stepped outside with the teacher, and then she like helped me move the like I just like kept releasing, which made me realize there's just deep sexual shame there. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because, man, and this is to all men, this is to all women, but I want to point this towards men. When you can allow yourself to illuminate your shame and sexuality, you just become a you become a more attractive human being.
Yes,
Um, and and because sexuality is your creativity, I just feel it can make you a better performer.
I agree completely. You know, when yeah, if you're a performer, I guess you're lucky, because you can put that sexual energy into performance, and um, it's great too. It's a great thing because you feel so alive, rather than jerk. I mean, whatever. Rather than masturbating, you can put it into being creative. That energy to just play.
Right. Or you
Yeah.
could do both.
I could do both. I'm not. Yeah. By the way, I'm not like anti-masturbate. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
you can take a break. You can take a break if you want to, and just put it into.
This is so interesting though, Ed, and I always love our conversations because I always feel so safe and comfortable to be
Likewise.
more of my authentic self. Yeah, man, it's like there's an int I've been in this interesting realm with uh Christianity and
Hmm.
uh like I will not call myself a Christian, but in the sense of how I lead my wife, I feel like I am very acting in a very Christian way. But like um but I've had been having this struggle with like something like big pussy energy and like how Christians would see that and like, oh, like it's very like into the self and I hear that all the time and it's like um new age spirituality is very narcissistic
Oh,
and and
yeah.
it's like it's very interesting to me because I find when I start to go see the uh and I have to say this, I'm not trying to point fingers. This is just my experience with what I've seen in Christianity, and I will even call it New Age Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
because they love to like Christians love to be like New Age spirituality, and it's like yes, there is its place. There is aspects of New Age spirituality that you definitely make fun of,
Mm-hmm.
but what I'm trying to say, getting to a point, is that I I feel like I had a lot of difficulty stepping in to really look at my sexual shame because of the element of Christianity and how they shape that God is separate from you and it's interesting because I started to get pulled back into the Christian world and I
Mm-hmm.
but because I've become more attuned is that I just kept feeling the distortion of it being like God is separate, God is outside of you
Oh, wow.
and and uh and it's like give it all up to God, your shame
Wow.
and your and give it all up to him, and it's like I think there's merit to that, and I get real confused
Mm,
because I feel that we are not separate.
I agree. It's really funny with that, or interesting with that expression. Like, if we want to be literal about give it all up to God. Like, uh, if you could just like if we could just like do an edit and just say give it all up, like, whatever it is, rather
Yeah.
than to God, because I think we are God. Like, I think you'd agree with that. Like, we were all God. Like, I mean, he's within us. She, they,
Yes,
whatever. So like, yeah, but I get what you're saying. It's
but
very
it's
interesting
like
how,
this
yeah,
is the confusion where Christians are like, so you're calling yourself God, and this is the moment that it's like Christians get lost in the sauce when they don't think about the mystical.
right,
Um,
right.
no, I'm not calling my this vessel God.
Hmm.
Uh, but God is the all, the one. I think this is what Jesus and Yeshua talks about is that I and the Father are one.
Right.
Is he's talking about God as one. Nobody can actually be God, the one.
Hmm.
That's impossible. It's impossible. Like,
Hmm. Right,
but
of course. Yeah.
we are the like I, Jared, am a facet of God. You, Ed,
Right.
are a facet of God. We are the one of God. We are
Right.
the yeah. I think that makes sense. But yeah, it's and it needs to have this mystery behind it.
I agree completely. And also like, uh, if you look at like life, not to get all deep, but like, in not just even like the crazy shit that's happening in the world, but like even in our day-to-day interactions, like when we create that separation, like, are we like inferior, superior? Oh, that person's superior to me, or he's inferior to me. Like, that's like nonsense to me. Like that's and that kind of ideology kind of plays into that of like creating that separation of like so God is some superior thing that I can't channel. It's like, well, it all comes from one source, and like we all have access to it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that's and I know, yeah, but it's interesting about the mystical thing too, because yeah, they do miss that, but that's in a funny way also related to clowning as well. Like if like some people don't jive with the mystical. Where like I, you know, for whatever reason, I get it. Like I respect it. Like each to his own. Like not to get into like a boring philosophical chat about like theater training, but like Goliath spoke to me, and Goliath obviously speaks to a lot of people. That kind of, and the way I teach maybe speaks to a lot of people too. That kind of poetic way of speaking that isn't like practical acting, like teacher speak. Like, and that's fine if you don't vibe or jive with that, but like, we shouldn't apologize for it either. You know what I mean? It's not wrong. Like, if that's, you know, if this way of being is like enter the stage and be beautiful, and if the student says, I don't know what that means, could you could you write that like explain exactly like
Their
like
logic brain is immediately tried to make
yeah.
sense of what you, yeah,
And
yeah,
that's and I kind of I empathize, of course, with that
sure.
people like that because that's more mathematical brain, which obviously serves them in their lives in some ways. But
Yeah.
like, I guess what I'm trying to say here is like each to his own. Can't we all just coexist, baby? Right? You know,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
now this makes me curious because you and I we always tend to catch up, touch base. We don't talk like we maybe like every 2 months or whatever, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just more curious because I feel like you're on a different spectrum. Like when you get into Austin, Texas, like you can get like, I
Hmm.
mean, you can just like hear some pretty, what I would say, woo woo talk
Hmm.
because you start to,
Right.
rather than putting it, I don't know, it starts to become like very, it sounds like the ego's talking when
Sure.
like
Interesting.
they're
Yeah.
using all these words, the 5D and da da da
That's a
da. And
that's a
I
good
get it. There, it's for an audience, right? But like
that's a good point.
it's
Yeah.
interesting
Of
with you whenever I hear you talk is like you know about the 5D, you know about that world, but yet you the way that you speak feels in more grounded. So my curiosity to you is like, um, what was what would you say about just the world of I think I just lost my train of thought of like what the question I wanted to ask you, but it had something to do with just yeah, like the world of like the new age and like what's your thoughts on that and like talking about 5D and talking about channeling and all these different things like where have you found yourself in that world?
That's so interesting. Because I guess in the last couple of years I've kind of I wouldn't say moved away, but I've kind of stepped back a bit from I kind of got really curious about a lot of that stuff during COVID perhaps, but like um I would just say my answer to that is like I take that on a case by case basis, as in there are some people who speak about that kind of stuff that I think are very authentic and real, and I believe them or whatever, or I think they're doing good and they're not like woo woo. And but then obviously there are others who are a bit woo woo and like it isn't going coming from an authentic place, perhaps no offense. Like yeah, I guess you got to judge person to person, case by case, because
Yeah.
like there, but also like what I would say with that kind of stuff is like um, you have to kind of uh, make it, for lack of a better word, a judgment on like, say you have a coach or you know somebody or you take a workshop with somebody that like is speaking like this. You got to just apply what they're saying or suggesting and see if it works for you, and then you'll find out your answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, um, or is it resonating with me in day-to-day life? Or some of the things that there's a because like on that it's funny on that note there's a guy that I listen to on YouTube. He does like a once a month like update on the energy in the month. He's called Lee Harris. I think he's English. I think he's really cool. And like the reason why I like listening to him, and I listen to him once a month, like his update on what he expects the month to be like, I found it to be so like resonates with me and like so basically kind of takes the pulse from his point of view of what's going to happen or the vibes in the air or what you might be feeling this month
Yeah.
personally. And like I found myself going, wow, this guy's kind of on the nose with a lot of my life right now. And obviously speaking very generally and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so you know, so my point is I think a lot of that stuff can be good, but then there are people who are maybe are yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. You use the word a bit of like distortion there. It's like
Yeah.
it's coming from a yeah, when distortion meaning there's ego painted in there. I mean,
Mm.
like
In some cases they might not even know that they're doing that, by the way.
yeah, yeah,
Which is really interesting. Like they might be well-meaning people who are just like, you know what I mean? Like they're just caught up in this like whatever ego thing that they're not fully aware of, you know?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, so back to our chat GBT assistant.
Yes.
They brought up your divorce.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because yeah.
Well, it's I love that what's the question? Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll let you
yeah.
answer.
What surprised you most about yourself during your divorce?
It's amazing that that question like came up because when we were talking about what we just talked about, I was thinking about like how for whatever reason, because you know me, like you've known me quite a while, I really caught it like I was given a wonderful mantra by an Indian lineage, and I was really into meditation for a long time. And I was doing like 2 hours a day or whatever, and I just was laughing about this a few days ago, thinking, isn't it funny how, for whatever reason, during the breakup, the divorce, and like my kind of life, uh, for a long time up until very recently, after that, for like 2 years or whatever, year and a half, 2 years, was like I wasn't really doing much spiritual work at all because it felt more authentic to go with the rock and roll flow of the 3D world if you know what I mean,
I
and
do.
like just to see so sometimes you can go through that kind of phase too where you know, but now literally in the last couple of weeks I've started to get back into I'm not doing 2 hours a day, but I'm doing like 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night because it just feels right to do it again, you know.
Yeah.
um you just got to trust your own intuition. But I was laughing to myself about how you would think in a situation like that, that like you would go hardcore into the spiritual stuff.
Right.
Um, but I wasn't. And I was like, okay, fasten your seatbelts. And this, and of course, I did some stupid things that are not related to her, to my ex-wife, followed some stupid impulses. Um, tried to get back with an ex that I really loved, and that was big flop,
A big
hardcore
flop.
flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. And you know, I've sent my apologies in the post. Um, LOL. But yeah, and then other stuff. I got fired
Yeah.
from my
That you just said LOL.
yes. I got fired from my college jobs. I was teaching in colleges, so it was very rock and roll. But what was interesting, wow, I love how this is all interconnected. I'm not saying I'm always like this, and I'm not saying that I will always be like this. Like, I'm the kind of guy I think you know this about me. I know you're the same. I never want to intentionally upset anybody, but I do upset people a lot sometimes with by being myself. And I got the kind of personality where I'll immediately acknowledge it and apologize. And like, you know, clown is like about being sensitive to the audience and listening to the audience, right? So like I should sometimes like, you should know that, Ed, when you fuck up in real life. But of course, I don't always remember that. But like, um, why did I bring that up? Oh, because like, uh, oh, when I was told, and I've told you this story millions of times, but when I was told by my ex-wife, I no longer find you attractive, I'm in love with someone else, will you please leave the apartment? For whatever reason, in that moment, I mean, we could be all like 3D and logical about it, and maybe the reasons came out later or whatever, but like at that moment, I just kind of opened my heart like a clown flopping, surfing the flop, and I just said, okay. And I said to her, are you sure about this? And she said, yes, I've thought about it for a while. And I just said, okay, again. Gaulier would have been proud. I did a little smile, like, and that was it. Do you know what I mean? But like,
Mm.
um, and I guess that goes back to my dad, like about dignity and like there was a dignity, I think, to my reaction rather than screaming in her face or throwing the tea or whatever, which are all human responses to that kind of situation. But like, um, and I had the same dignified response, I think, when I was fired from my college jobs. To the point where the person who was firing me started to cry because I could feel her moved by my reaction. I'm not trying to like paint myself as a saint, but like I'm just saying that like she was stunned by, and she knew that I was a very popular teacher, and like she got emotional when and like firing me, which is really, and I was like, I had to kind of calm her down, be like, it's okay.
Mm.
Um, and I guess the point that I'm making here is like, I don't do this every day, but guys and girls listening at home, if you can just go with what's happening, no matter what it is, life is so much more beautiful. Even if you could just go with the flop and the pain and just swim in it, ride that wave, you know, it becomes more, life becomes, because if we get stuck in the moment, and believe me, I've been stuck in a lot of moments, like it's just, but it's just a waste of time, right? It's just I don't want to say maybe it's a bit, maybe if you're getting stuck in a moment, it's something that you have to go through. So maybe it's not a waste, but like it's just it's a lot tougher, I think, to be like, you know, let me rephrase that. It's a lot tougher when you're resistant to what's happening.
Oh yeah.
Resisting what's happening is makes life so much harder, you know.
Well, with that being said, of the just letting go of resistance, how has your relationship to love and sexuality changed through this new gay phase?
It's crazy because like You know, I think I joked, I don't know if this was in the podcast or were we rolling when I said about I need to get prep because my instinct is to not put on a condom or to not have the boy put on the young man. Sorry, I'm not fucking boys, I'm fucking young men. My life coach Michelle made a really big deal in a session with me. Honey, I'm concerned. I don't mean to be bogged down in semantics, but I want you to clarify this. You're attracted to young men. You're not. I don't want you to get wrapped up in the P. Diddy stuff. She was so funny. She
Oh
was like
my
so
gosh.
she was so concerned for how I like because I've got a tendency to say I describe myself as a young boy, which is obviously ridiculous. So I like it's languaging, but yeah, I like younger men, but like um actually, I was supposed to meet someone today. I hope he calls me. Really funny. I was in a park a couple of days ago, and this really beautiful Dominican guy who looked a lot younger, but he was like in his early 30s. Just like he just walked. It was stroll. I was like walked up to me. I was sunbathing, and he was like, "Hey, man, it was Pride. Happy Pride. You want to play?" And I was so innocent. I said, "What do you mean? Do I want to play?" He was like, you want to play?" And I said, "Oh," and I said, "You would love this. I would most certainly love to play young man, but I have to go to a rehearsal right now for a play reading that I'm doing. Perhaps we can meet on another day." It was so fun. I became such a bougie English gentleman. Yeah. So he took my number. His phone was,
And imagine that in a script too.
yeah,
I would
yeah.
absolutely love to play young man.
Jesus Christ. So funny. But yeah. Um, oh, it's wild. I guess to answer your question, though, more specifically, it's made me more, because I don't know if I'm bi or not, to be honest. Like right now, I seem to be more attracted to very specific kind of men, like men who were like very physically hot and kind of young and kind of like twink Timothy Chalamet kind of vibes or whatever. Um, but I'm open to whatever. Like love is what love is, but I guess it's made me more risky. I did have sex. Can I tell the audience this? I don't know if this is legal, but apparently it's a lot safer than it was 30 years ago. I had sex in Central Park 3 weeks ago, late at night. It
How
was
was that?
fantastic. It was amazing. He was 29, still too old for me, honey. Okay. Sorry, but he was lovely. It was a totally like peace out moment where it was like oh man, it was, I have to put this in a script too. As he's fucking me in the ass, he said to me very sensitively, Ed, do you have scoliosis? And I said, yes, I do. It was amazing. It was so poetic and funny.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Like
yeah,
in the moment.
yeah. Because he obviously saw my spine because he
Yeah.
was, you know,
And
uh,
did that make you feel more sensitive with the sex?
I did because I liked how he asked it. He asked it in a very kind of caring way. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
Uh, so like it was delicate and yeah, it was good stuff. But I guess like also like to the question you've asked, like you know me, you've known me for a long time, and I've always been more like of a you're the one kind of a guy. I guess
Uh-huh.
I'm not that right now in this moment.
Gotcha.
Um, you know, but I do get crushes and I fall in love like a little boy quickly. Like I get crushes on my students all the fucking time, you know. Like I wanted to fuck all the college students, like, and I told them that wasn't the reason I was fired, by the way, which is hilarious. I was fired on a text message, but anyway, um, yeah. Uh, and you know
The
what? Some of the ones
honest
I want to, some of
is
the,
magnificent,
yeah,
brother.
yeah, some of the ones I want to fuck have graduated now, so you never know, honey. Like, Jesus. But basically, I guess I'm becoming like the queer Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I mean? Fucking
Yeah.
those young men.
It's you know what's great about this, and I knew it was going to be like this, and which is one of the main reasons why I wanted you on the podcast is it's like I realized that the the way that my branding is created has this very like serious stoic vibe,
Whoa.
and which I love. I love the
Yeah.
stoicism, and I really w- always want to go back to my roots of that authentic nature of like you gotta shake shit up, and I was like bring Ed on like because that to me like you always remind me of my essence of
Well,
the
wow, that's
essence of
beautiful.
my soul.
Oh my God, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. But I love that you're doing this. And what's the name of the podcast again?
The way spiritual dojo, like the way colon spiritual dojo.
That's such a like a unique, cool name. I love it.
Yeah,
I
I took the name just of like I was very like really diving into I was really diving into the work of Yeshua. Like I just when I
yeah.
say the work of Jesus, it
I
feels like like
no, I know what you mean. I love
yeah,
Yeshua is
yeah.
cool too.
But I was diving into that and really paying attention to the way, and not in the sense of a lot of what the Bible talks about, but these like books of like the Essenes that Jesus was in this group called the Essenes. Um, and it talks about the way, and it's like they bring that up in the Bible, the way, and the way is actually uh it's there's actually rule they break it down of like what the way is, and the Essenes walked the way, and I decided I really wanted to create that uh as the title, and at the end of the day it's like it makes me think of just the way like people are always looking at what path what the way is for them, what the
Oh my God.
yeah,
I got I I got bumps. I don't say goosebumps anymore. I got, as you know, God bumps when you said
God
that.
bumps. Yeah, yeah.
Because that again goes back to the clowning where like, and I say this to people who come to my class, and what I love about what I learned as a clown from Gaulier, whoever else but Gaulier specifically would say, all I'm trying to do is figure out which way you want to play and point you in that direction, because this way is good for you, this way is not good for you, this way you can make money if you play like this. Because like, for your listeners, I'm sure like a lot of the clown training, we don't work with prescribed scripts. We have to create the work ourselves, obviously. So it's like finding your own voice, finding your own way, as an
Mm,
artist. And like you might not know what that way is. So therefore I'll throw different exercises at you to see, does he like to play serious like this? Does he like to play like he's a bit of a faggot? Like, does he like to play like he's a little girl? What will be him in his most beautiful essence that will sell beautifully to an audience. I know people don't like the word sell, but at the end of the day, honey, we're all selling ourselves, Well,
mm.
let's be clear. Selling our beauty, hopefully our beauty, you know.
Yeah, selling
Um,
our beauty.
um,
That's an interesting, yeah, it's an
but it's
interesting
true in
way
the
of looking. Yeah,
spiritual world too, right? That like finding the right way path for you, like that's,
right.
yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sitting with that what like we're all selling ourselves.
Hmm. But we should, but the thing is, and again, it goes back to the ego, right? Or maybe not people not being fully developed or whatever, people being where they are, where like that's not comfortable for some people, or
Yeah.
people might say, "Fuck you, man. I don't look at it like that. I want to do whatever I want." Like, which is fine too. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but listen to the audience. If you want to bring it back to clown, you can do whatever you want, but they're going to tell you whether they like it or not, the
Yep.
audience. And
Yep.
like,
Amen to that. Um, all right. Going back to questions. Huh. Why do you think people are so terrified of being boring? And what's your remedy for that?
amazing. This is ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Wow. So good, actually. Um, well, I
And
think,
it's like that's another humbling too, because I decided because
yeah,
just like to help the audience a little bit, it's like I want to humble myself and like I just like sometimes I don't know how to ask like the most
totally,
provoking questions and
totally.
and I
I
could
love,
easily appear like, oh, I'm getting these questions from me, like from me, but I do believe that it's
I love that you shared that, because I've done this a lot too, where if I'm having a bad day as a teacher, I'll look to a student, you direct this, I can't do it anymore. You direct this person, why not? Maybe someone who's very sensitive in the class is feeling it as a director and blah blah blah, but to answer the question, well, it's such an interesting question, because I'm like, are people terrified of being boring? I think I would ask that question in response to the question, because
Mm,
are people even fucking aware? Like, um, I guess the question is related to specifically, it's probably not, but I'm going to take it specifically in a performance sense, because I assume that in real life, we all have the manners and human decency to not say to someone, "You're boring." Maybe we do. Maybe that's not true. But like, maybe we don't gravitate towards people who we think are boring. But what makes them afraid of being boring? Well, I think insecurity, and obviously, because if you're terrified of being boring, you're thinking about it, and you shouldn't be thinking about it first, right? Why
yeah.
would you be think? You shouldn't be walking around going like, unless you're like constantly in a fucking Philippe Gaulier PTSD moment. Am I boring right now? Like, Jesus Christ. That's crazy. I mean, well, I would say, uh, wait, was there a second part to that question? Like, what's the solution? I
Yeah,
think that,
it's like what's the remedy for
but the remedy definitely is to do what we talked about earlier,
yeah.
to wake up every morning and be like, today I want to be beautiful. Today I'm going to be beautiful, and today I'm going to notice seven beautiful things about the world,
Hmm.
and maybe even seven beautiful things about myself. I have no idea why the number seven is such a good number for this. Don't ask me why. Uh, but I think that's a good solution to say, okay, if seven is too much, pick one
It's like a
thing.
seven, like completion. Seven is
Maybe exactly. Yeah, yeah. You know more about that than me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I think
I,
numerology.
I only
Yeah,
say that just because the weeks, 7 days in the week.
exactly. Wow, very good. Well, it's funny because I do the exercise in class where it's make us laugh every 7 seconds. Go. But yeah, it's a tough one. But the remedy is definitely to notice how beautiful you are. And if you do that, and if you notice other beautiful people and things in the world, then you won't be boring because your eyes and your energy will just glow. Truly acknowledge. And if I say, if you say that to some people, they'll start to cry because it might be really um, hard for them
Mhm.
to acknowledge beauty about themselves, and I understand that. But if you can't acknowledge the beauty about yourself today, maybe you can do it next week, but maybe you can focus on acknowledging things that you consider beautiful, and that will inspire you, you know?
Yeah.
I can get inspired by the beauty of someone else for sure, get the attention off myself. Um, yeah, which is obviously a
Yeah,
good thing to do.
that right
If
there is like taking the thinking about the self and putting it that's
Mhm.
like an acting technique.
Exactly, exactly. Or in clown, we say it's good to have a loud voice because it gets you away from the self, like the shout,
Mm.
like the ringmaster, in the circus shouts a lot, like you know. Um, but yeah, does that yeah? So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the way to not be boring. Yeah,
that definitely answers that. Mm, this is an interesting one. Do you think clowning has taught you how to die before you die?
that's amazing. Yes, I'm gonna say yes. Yes. Period. Next. Um,
Boom.
uh, uh,
Boom.
uh,
No.
but yo, for sure, it's
What, but it did in parentheses, it said, in other words, to let go of control, perfection, or the right way to be seen.
absolutely that's amazing. Wow, ChatGPT is so intelligent. Um, yes, to all of that because absolutely because you're constantly dying, like you're constantly like you know who knows? I've been flirting with the idea of trying to build another show myself, but try to do one with no words, and I might have a friend who might help me. Um, and like, it's scary in the most beautiful way, just to get in a room and be like, whether it's with one person or with a lot of people, and you're just staring at the audience and you're trying to create something out of your ass, or you bring in a shitty idea, the idea flops, and we all hate your idea, and we want to see how you react to us hating your idea.
Yeah.
It is like getting shot. It's what I
Oh,
love about
oh, it
clowning.
is. It is.
It's really
I've
cool.
I've felt that for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really cool. Yeah, so definitely, definitely.
how do you think uh no, I'm not gonna ask that question.
Oh, really? You don't like that particular one? Okay.
Um,
Everyone's really curious now about what it is. All your listeners
yeah,
are
yeah,
wondering.
yeah. What do you think laughter this is it makes me sound heartless that I just threw this off. Like, what do you think laughter actually heals in people? And when has laughter healed you?
Well, in people,
The reason I didn't ask it because, and this is just maybe it's my ego, but I was like, oh, that sounds cheesy.
no,
But
I know it does, and I guess we lean in on the cheesiness. No, totally. Didn't you and I take? I remember we did during COVID. Jared and I were in a kind of a laughter clown class on Zoom with Christopher Bays, who's like another
Oh
New York
yeah.
teacher.
Oh, I forgot that you
And
were in that.
yeah, and he's another wonderful teacher who has a, I guess, a different approach to me, but he's a really good teacher too. And he um, said in that workshop, as I recall, that it's been scientifically proven that laughter makes you live longer or adds years to your life,
Hmm.
which I thought was really interesting. And I first thought, is this a joke? But I think he actually was deadly serious. So that's fascinating. So I guess
Hmm.
there's the healing right there. The healing is you're going to live longer. But also I feel like I remember at my dad's funeral just laughing a lot with my friends after the funeral in the bar, and
Hmm.
just like it just relaxed everything, and just that release of tension when something horrible has happened, or the ability to laugh at your tragedies is so important. Because going back to my marriage, I think I told you this, like the class that I taught a few days after Nadine, my ex-wife, broke up with me, I literally got students in the class to do an impression of Ed Malone being cheated on by his ex-wife. It was fantastic. It was really, and they all got up and did really bad Irish accents, which was fantastic. You know, it was really good. And
See, that's
there was one beautiful moment, sorry, where I think I might have directed this just to give the class a kind of a delusional dream, where like it was very Gaulier, where this brilliant actor Ryan, he's the guy who was in that gay short film that I sent you. He's a beautiful actor. He was in the class and he did this beautiful impression of me, and it was beautiful. And then I said to him, as you're leaving, quickly turn around, fix point, look at her, run towards her, give us the illusion that she's going to take you back. And it was just so powerful because he was leaving and then he turned around. And for a moment, the audience began to dream that the relationship might still have a chance. And then, boom, he turns and leaves again, you know? It was so deep and
wow.
profound and powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh, we began to dream around the narrative that something could happen. But yeah, because yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I'm
and
so,
that's a very honest thing that happens in the mind too, is it's like you kind of go in that daydream.
yeah. 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 But also, like, you know, yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen day to day. But no, I'm just, as you know, I'm just so open. I think I've always been like this. I'm very open to taking the piss out of myself, making fun of myself. I think it's important.
Yeah, I think that's very important. It's
And like there's a
very,
fine there's a fine line, right? Because you don't want to like be nasty to yourself or nasty to others. We always have to walk that line. But
yeah,
Gaulier would say, we mock our friends to show them how ridiculous we are, and I love that when the students in the class would mock each other, and I do that with my class, where I'd be like, do an impression of Jared, like, or do your impression of Ed Malone or whatever, like just to show us how, because we might have forgotten how ridiculous we are. So it's good for us to see another person show us that. Um, it's beautiful.
yeah,
And that gets us to, I think that's very healing actually as well to the question,
yep.
to laugh at yourself and, you know,
Um, so I think this I'll ask one more question, and this question I normally do this before I get on the call with people, but I think I'm just going to do it now. But I'll literally ask God, what's the age that I ask this question to? What age range um, of
that's
you?
amazing.
So is it under 20, under 10, above 10, age 11, age 10? Okay, so if you were to give advice to your 10-year-old self on the way or the hero's journey for the like the path that you're going on, what advice would you give to your 10-year-old self?
Wow.
Or I'll give you two options, that or how would uh like no, that's the question, yeah.
I love it. What kind of came through me was like to say to him, everything that's going to happen is going to happen exactly as it's supposed to happen.
Mm,
Because not to, can I elaborate or should I just leave it at that?
absolutely.
Or,
Please elaborate.
um, and the only and I think why that came through was like uh Ed's kind of ego um has a tendency to kind of regret certain actions or certain decisions or certain um things that happened or didn't happen. I should have stayed here longer. I should have, you know, connected with that person, but I shouldn't have treated that person like that. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have, et cetera, et cetera. That sometimes Ed's ego can be clever and try to create a narrative around like, if you did this, this wouldn't have happened, that your life would be different, maybe better or whatever, that kind of thing. So to say to my 10-year-old self, like, it's going to be what it's going to be and it's totally fine and it's exactly how it's supposed to be.
Mm, I love that. I mean, that's the and that's an advice I would give to myself even now. It's like we're always going to be in these moments where it's just like complete like a low point, and
Hmm.
recognizing like this moment, even at your lowest, is exactly what it's meant to be.
It's so powerful, like even just to hear you say that, like for any of us to articulate that, like because it's just like, and I don't know if you feel this, but like it's like a weight comes off your shoulder, and it's not like in a kind of a, it's not like in a way to kind of like make excuses. It's in a way to just acknowledge like that what's happened has happened, and what's done is done, and what's going to happen is going to happen, and like, you know, whatever choices you make are just going to be made. It's like that thing of like, we've talked about this millions of times, or I brought this up, this thing that this old expression that I really love. Um, am I beating my heart or is my heart just beating? Like, obviously, my heart is just beating. Ed Malone isn't actively beating his heart. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what's going to happen is going to happen. I'm not going to be perfect just because I'm like into a lot of spiritual stuff. I'm not going to like, make perfect decisions from now until the day I die. Things aren't going to go exactly as planned in every instance, but they'll go exactly as they're supposed to, and it's going to be beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's cool. It's exciting.
Amen.
Yeah.
What are some things that you would love to share that you're up to right now?
Well, yeah, if any of your friends are in New York City, I'm teaching a weekend intensive on July 5th and 6th. As someone said to me, you have a lot of balls to teach a fucking weekend intensive on July 4th weekend. And yeah, we've got lots of space available. I think I have about 10 or 12 people signed up, which is not bad actually for that kind of weekend. And I'm looking to get a few more people in. My dream was to get 15 to 20, so we're not too far away. But whoever shows up will have a good time. Doing it in a basement of a bar, beautiful space in the Lower East Side, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. on both days, 7 hours each day, intense sounding. But I'm really incorporating, that I do this in my work anyway, and I don't want to get too technical for your viewers, but like clowning and bouffon and character work. So I'm getting away from just literally calling a clown. I'm saying like for people who are interested in theater speak, it's bouffon is the more grotesque kind of clowning where we kind of have fun to kind of mock people and I guess faux rap and people like that would be considered bouffon. So the clown is more innocent. So we'll explore the innocence and also the grotesque and the stuff like that. So it'll be a fun workshop. And if any of your people want to follow me on the Instagram page that I do not
Oh
control
yeah.
myself, it's hilarious. My students control it for me. They set it up. It's called Ed is Super Gay 6969. Wow, really fun Instagram page. Yeah. Uh, so maybe you can
That
do
sounds
that.
like such a like troll, like
What?
somebody's like a person that's like trying to troll somebody else would just be a name like that.
Totally, absolutely ridiculous. And I'm doing a bit
The
of
way
acting
that you
maybe.
were lying there was
Yeah,
like it was like
is it?
something the way very like I'm like talking to my partner like very just like you're so like in your comfortability and relax like I don't
Great.
know. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like when you're
I do.
talking to your partner and it's just like, what are you doing, baby? Like you're
Well,
so sitting
that's
back.
totally how comfortable I feel with you, Jared, as a
Mm.
friend. I love you.
I love that. Of
Great.
course. I'm
Yes.
glad that you can feel comfortable enough to lie back and feel
Yes.
relaxed.
Totally. Lie back. Take it up the ass. Jesus Christ.
I was like, I was thinking in my head, give us a quote to end on. That's the perfect quote. Lie
Totally.
back and take it up the ass.
That's life, baby. Wow.
That's life. That's
That's
end it with a Frank Sinatra song. That's life. Take it up the ass.
wow, that was so good. That's very Buffon. That's beautiful. I love like great.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Well,
Cool.
let me with that all being said, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.